Well, hello, my beautiful Scorpios. How are you, my gorgeous ones? So, thank you so very much for having patience. If you saw my other video where I explained why everything was out so late, I said I was going to do the December with the January. So, we're going to do that for you guys. If you haven't seen that video, I'll leave that right up here in the eye icon so you guys can check it out, because there's also a message from Spirit as well. So, welcome everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am the modern day spiritual advisor. I use multiple modalities, including astrology, tarot, mediumship, all kinds of stuff to help you on your path. So, my gorgeous ones, please be sure to like and share and subscribe to this video. It helps me out, and the more I can get out there, and the more people subscribe, the more videos that I can do for you guys and the more time I have for you guys. So let's get started. Let me change screens here. So today is the 16th. This week, the 17th, 18th, 19th, through the 17th, 18th, 19th. These are going to be really, really significant days for you guys. So if you look here, Scorpio, Venus, who had gone retrograde, went back into Libra, has come back into your sign. On the 17th, it is going to be out of shadow. So these things that you've been dealing with regarding relationships and love and money, these things, and you started probably working on it in October, the end of October. You were getting a clue about it, somewhere at the end of September, and then you begin to work on it as Venus went retrograde. Now that you sort of have a plan and you sort of know what's going on and things are very clear and you're sort of directed, now that it comes out of shadow, now it can progress forward. So that's happening on the 17th. Then on the 18th, Saturn is also coming out of its shadow. So I have a good Saturn video. I will put the link up here also so you can watch. I talk about Saturn and how it retrogrades and what's happening and what we'd be doing. That is now coming out of shadow. So that means that this thing that we had been working so hard for, or things, or dreams, or hopes, or these things that we've been really trying to ground, and for you guys, that's in the third house of new skills, of your family, your neighbors, your siblings, different things like that. Administration, media, some of you may have even been writing. Whatever this thing is that you had begun to work on really, really hard in April, and then we had all those retrogrades this summer. And then things started to progress forward. Well, now we're out of shadow. So now these plans that you put into place, these steps that you know to take, these things having to do with that house are now going to progress forward. Now it's time to not just implement them, but take the action, and the energy should help you move this forward. So with Venus being in your first house, this is about you, and it can be in different parts of your life, but it has to do with relationships. Now, the reason I'm saying these two in this week is that it's going to feel like, it's probably already felt like that, and I said that in my video. There's like been these ups and downs and just like a lot of movement going on. It's because we have a lot of things that are coming out of shadow and out of retrograde. So we've got planets moving forward, personal planets and the bigger ones. So Venus is sextiling Saturn. So there is an opportunity, sextile is an opportunity. But to me, this means these are the gifts and rewards and presents and things that are coming to you for all the hard work that you've done with Saturn, for all the hard work that you did in this house. So in this week, although we're going to be moving forward and implementing things, you're going to be receiving some things as well. Venus likes to gift you with things, right? And Saturn's wanting to reward you with the hard work that you've done. Planning things out and sticking to it, and really putting the energy into it, and putting up with his delays, and putting up with his making you really grounded. Like all of that's now moving forward into this new phase, and this is setting the precedence for 2019. 2019 is going to be about grounding those hopes and dreams, grounding those things that we've prepared for all year long in 2018. Really focusing and making sure that that's what we wanted, and in 2019, this is going to be about bringing those to the physical, bringing those aspects. Now, I'm going to do videos having to do with having to do with Jupiter, Neptune, and Saturn, because all year long they're going to be having these conversations. And these are deep, soulful conversations that are going to help manifest the things that we want in our life for this next year. So I'm going to do videos about that. But I just wanted to mention that this week may seem like it's really going fast. We've got some things going forward, and that's because of this sextile, this opportunity. But these are gifts and rewards and completions that you have worked so hard on since April, and then some of you with Venus since October, the end of October. So that's happening the 17th, 18th, and 19th is when the sextile is. Then, and pardon me, I've got like so much writing, so give me just a second. Then on the 22nd, and I'll have, we have this full moon in Cancer, and I'll have the full moon video. I always have my new moon, full moon video. So we have this full moon in Cancer. So Cancer is very healing. Cancer is very nurturing. Cancer wants to feel safe and secure. And so this is going to be in your 12th, 11th, 10th, 9th. So your 9th house of belief system. With it being a full moon, this means that there is something that's going to be shown to you, because that's the full moon. It illuminates the part that you hadn't seen before. It's going to clear it up so that you can let go and release, so that you can move forward. And this has to do with your belief system. This could have to do with higher knowledge too. Since this is the 9th house. This is the Sagittarius house, the Jupiter house. This has to do with higher learning. So if you're dealing with any of that, that could be happening. That in that full moon, you could be releasing something so that you could be receiving something, right? Because fate and destiny step in here as well. So that's on the 22nd. Then from the 27th through the 31st, and of course then we have Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Then from the 27th through the 31st, make sure I got this right. Sorry, on that full moon day, that's also when the sun moves into Capricorn. So in this third house for you, the sun is going to start clearing some things up. Things are going to start moving forward, but I set that with this sextile going on. So you're going to get an indication 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Like you're going to get, it'll start progressing. And then the sun moves into Capricorn. So then on the 27th through the 31st, the sun is going to conjunct Saturn. So the sun is going to be speaking to Saturn in this third house. So this is a very busy house, so it can be about a lot of things for you guys. Because this house has to do with your neighbors, your siblings, your coworkers, administration, media, skills, new skills that you want to learn. Yeah, and your siblings, I said your siblings. So when Saturn and the sun are speaking, this hard work that you had been dealing with, probably since April, this hard work is going to get even more clear. And like maybe you knew some steps to take and then you couldn't go any further because you weren't getting clarity or some indication or some maybe movement from others that you couldn't do this yet. Well, when the sun comes in here and speaks to Saturn, it's going to clear it up. It's going to allow it to move forward. So look for that from the 27th through the 31st. So we've got some more movement going forward. We're moving into this new phase of life, this new area, this new territory is coming about because we've worked for the last 6 months on wanting to know what we really want, like really committing to what we want, right? So that's happening from the 27th through the 31st. And then we move on to January 1st. So January 1st, 2019, Happy New Year. On January 1st, from the 1st through the 7th, you're going to have Saturn. Let me look here. So from the 1st through the 7th, you're going to have the Sun conjunct Saturn, which means it's right on top of it. They're speaking very clearly to each other. Saturn, the Sun's clearing up all these things that Saturn's making you work hard for, and it's going to sextile Neptune. Okay, so when this happens, this sextile, so you're going to have Saturn and the Sun sextiling Neptune. Neptune is about the dreams and the hopes and the visions that we see and the bigger than ourselves kind of thing, right? And Saturn is more of the grounding. We need to take the steps. We need to make it physical. We have to deal with time here. And so when we have this sextile here, there's this conversation going on about, and this has to do with your 3rd and your 5th house, something you're creating, maybe something having to do with your children. It could be, like I said, if you're writing a book, but this is your house of pleasure, your house of something being created from your heart. So there's this opportunity here of these things that we see, the way that we want our life, the way that you see yourself being happy and having a good time and really opening your heart. There's something in there where it's having this opportunity, and Saturn's saying you can have those things, but you have to take you have to make a plan of action. And so that's the conversation that these two are kind of having, and the Sun is clearing it so that you can see the way. So I feel like from the 1st to the 7th, there may be this conversation that you're having with yourself of, I should take more time. This is what makes me happy, but how do I make that happen? And Saturn's here to show you how to ground it. Like maybe I take more time for myself, and maybe I take once a week, or maybe I take 2 hours a day, or maybe I make time in my schedule, or maybe I work extra here so that I can play extra here. Or if you're creating something, like if you have a career but you want to do this other thing, okay, so how do I make this other thing happen? That's Saturn, and that's Neptune. Neptune shows you the bigger possibilities, shows you the intuition, because this won't go away. It's in your heart. You're like, this dream won't go away. I really need to do something about it. And Saturn's like, you can have it, but you have to bring it down to this earth. You have to make a plan of action. You have to do it. You have to like take some action, make some steps, and form it. You got to form it to become reality, right? And so that's kind of the conversation that's going on at the beginning of January. And then we have on the 5th. So as much as we're having this conversation going on, then the 5th comes along, and I think it's at 5:20. So my time, I'm PST, I'm Pacific Standard Time. It's 28. I'm just moving the time so I can show you guys. So at 5:28 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have a solar eclipse. The solar eclipse is going to be in Capricorn, right? And it's right there by Saturn, and then here comes Mercury on that day too as well. So we have Mercury entering Capricorn, we have Saturn in there, we have the solar eclipse. Now the solar eclipse, and I'll do the solar eclipse video, but the solar eclipse is going to give you this prominent energy of new beginnings, because it's a solar eclipse, that you're going to be working with for the next 6 months, right? So it's really prominent. These beginnings can really stick and really ground and really flourish and make something, right? And so that's going to be happening on the 5th. And you'll be feeling that energy, and you'll be working towards that. So you get this beginning, but then you start working and building on that new beginning for the next 6 months. That's going to be really prominent, okay? So that's happening, and with Mercury coming in here, he brings messages. He brings the processing, the way to do it, connecting the left to the right side and making a way, making you see a way to do it, right? Okay, so that's happening on the 5th. And then on the 8th, I mean, we have so many more aspects, but I'm only going to go over some. Then on the 8th, and again, this is happening in your 3rd house, this solar eclipse. And then on the 8th, we have Venus entering Sagittarius, and this is in your second house. So you have Jupiter in your second house right now. It's very optimistic. It's the philosopher. It is the teacher. It is the guru. It is there to expand that house. It is very optimistic, so it's going to be lighthearted and show you the good side of things. And then Venus comes in here, leaving your house and moving into that second house. The second house for you is the house where the money that you earn, of the valuables you have, of the value you have to yourself, right? So when Venus comes in there, Venus wants to bless you with that stuff. Jupiter's trying to teach you. Now, when Jupiter first enters a house, he will gift you of what you'd been working on the year before in the other house, which was your first house, right? Now he's going to be at a point where he's just teaching and expanding that house. So it means if you're putting the work in, if you're seeing the new way, if you're being taught, if you're learning, maybe how to make new money, maybe how to make more money, maybe how to expand your money, maybe how to invest your money, right? Jupiter's going to bless you with this. He's teaching you how to do this, right? And Venus comes in there and wants to give you more money, wants to give you more value, wants to give you more valuables, wants to give you luck, right? And so he's going to enter this house, and for that month, he's going to be helping Jupiter as he gets closer to Jupiter, but you should be receiving maybe even bonuses, maybe gifts that are really valuable, maybe an understanding about, I finally put my foot down and I'm charging what I deserve to be charged, what I deserve to charge, instead of, giving everything away, right? Stuff like that could be happening in the house. So that's on the 8th. And then from the 16th through the 19th, this is going to be, it could be kind of heavy. And that's the reason that I'm saying something about it, because from the 16th through the 19th, we are going to have, if you look here, we're going to have the Sun squaring Uranus, and then we're going to have Jupiter squaring Neptune. Remember, Neptune's the intuitive, Neptune is the bigger possibilities, and it's squaring Jupiter. So a square means that there's pressure. A square means that like a diamond in the rough, like the coal, you got to put pressure on it to make it a diamond, right? You have to pressurize it to make it a diamond. And so the way to relieve a square is to take action. That's the way you relieve a square, right? And so Jupiter's coming in here in your second house, and he's teaching you, but he's squaring this Neptune in your 5th house, right? So there could be something, let me make sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So there's something about something that comes from your heart, something of pleasure, something, maybe a love affair, maybe your children that you're working, maybe you're working with your children, something having to do with your children. So there's a square here, which means there's this pressure and there's this action that you have to take having to do with Jupiter in your money and this thing that you're creating, right? And so Neptune wants to see the bigger picture. Jupiter, the great thing about Jupiter is that in the ancient times, Jupiter, before Neptune was found, Jupiter ruled Pisces. So it's used to that energy. It knows how to adapt in that energy, right? So it knows how to see the different ways. And it knows that how to help form this thing that you have to do, right? And so that's just going a little bit more in depth. But to relieve this pressure, you're going to have to take an action. Then you have the Sun squaring Uranus, right? So Uranus is going to be in your 6th house of daily activity. Mars is in your 6th house of daily activity. And I will say this, just be careful in your everyday life, because you may be a little bit more irritated because Mars is in there, right? And if you don't direct Mars and you don't control Mars, Mars can get out of hand and people can irritate you and you may say something. Or you may get into confrontation because there's just a lot of energy in there. So Uranus is direct by then. He goes direct on the 7th, stations direct. And so, but he's still in Aries, right? And this is in your 6th house. So with it being in your 6th house, this is your daily activity and your health and well-being. Anytime Mars is in like this house too, you kind of maybe want to be careful not to have any accidents. I'm not saying that you're going to. I'm just saying it's more so usually when Mars is in your 1st house, but in your daily activity too. Like you can have so much energy that you're not paying attention, and you know, maybe something can happen. You never know. So just be sure to direct that Mars energy. But with Uranus here, Uranus wants to shift, and Uranus is now direct, and it is squaring the sun, which means there is some light, there is some clarity coming from maybe this thing that you've been working on, because it's in this Capricorn house since October, and then it cleared, and then it's moving forward, but now you've taken it as far as it can go for right now, and then the sun comes in here, and as it squares Uranus, Uranus shifts something, right? So Uranus wants to shift something in your daily life, in your daily schedule, in the way that you handle things, right? Now remember, the best way to feel better with a square is to take an action. That's going to relieve the pressure. So you have to take an action. If not, well, you don't have to do anything. But if you don't, you're going to be feeling like that push and pull, and you're not doing anything about it, right? So the way to be relieved of that is to take an action. Go with the flow. Uranus is going to come shift something, but you can go with the flow and go with it and to take that action, understanding that there are bigger things at play, there are bigger things that are involved, and maybe the timing isn't the way that you think it should be, or at the time that you think it should be, but maybe it's because something bigger is going to happen. And then on that day as well, or on those days, Uranus is squaring this north node, right? And so Uranus squaring this north node is in your 9th house. 9th house, the north node is in your 9th house right now, of higher learning, of bigger understanding, of the way that you see your perception. That is being worked on for the next year and a half because the north node is there. And so with the square, again, there's this action that needs to be taken so that you can move forward on your path, okay? So that's happening from the 16th through the 19th. Then on the 20th, we have our second eclipse. So on the 20th at 9:14 p.m., so at 9:14 p.m., we have this lunar eclipse in Leo. Now, where the solar eclipse is about new beginnings, new starts, fate and destiny stepping in, you're moving into this new path and things are coming about. The lunar eclipse is going to be about really releasing something and letting go of what no longer serves you and seeing something that you hadn't seen before, right? And this is 12th, 11th, is in your 10th house. So it's going to be in your 10th house of your career, of your accolades, of your reputation, of could even be your boss. But the 10th house has to do with your life purpose, your career, your reputation, the accolades that you have. There's something that's going to be shown to you so that you get some clarity and that you can release so that you can move forward. Now, it is a lunar eclipse, which means you will be working on this for the next 4 months after that, right? 4 to 6 months, but mainly 4 months is when it's really the bigger energy, and it's prominent because you'll be working on it. So as much as you have this new beginning with the solar eclipse, you're going to have these endings, these completions, these things that maybe you've come to terms with or understood about yourself or understood about your career or understood about your reputation, right? So that's going to be happening on the 20th. And then on the 21st, the sun enters Aquarius. So, I'm sorry, it's on the 20th that it enters Aquarius. Yeah, it's on the 20th that it enters Aquarius. I don't know why I said 21st, sorry. So on the 20th, it enters, the sun is entering Aquarius as you have this lunar eclipse. So the sun entering Aquarius, this is in your 4th house, okay? This is a really, really important house for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, just making sure. This house has to do with what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel safe, what makes you feel secure. Having Aquarius in there right now means that you don't do it in a normal way, that you are innovative about this, that this is forward thinking, that you're not doing it like normal, like maybe the norm of society would have you do it. And so when the sun's coming in here, it's going to clear some things up. It's going to help you feel better. It's going to help you see, get some more clarity about exactly what makes you feel safe and secure and comfortable, right? And with the sun there, you could also be gifted so that you understand that you are safe and comfortable and secure, okay? So that's happening on the 20th as well. And then on the 24th, that's when Mercury comes in here. And Mercury's talking to the sun in Aquarius, right? In this house of safety, security, of comfort, of where you've come from. This is your DNA, right? This is your lineage. This is the lineage of where you come from, right? Where you understand where you come from and what makes you feel comfortable. Why do I do the things that I do? Yeah, things like that. And so when Mercury comes in there, it's going to bring a message, as well as the sun clearing something up. Okay, so that's sort of how you're going to end the month. Again, I'm going to do videos specifically targeting the conversation that Jupiter and Saturn and Neptune are having, and then your north nodes, what's going on with those aspects. So look for that. But yep, that will end out the month, which is going to be a very, very busy month. So let me pull some cards for you guys. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some cards for the solar eclipse. I'm going to pull a card for the solar eclipse about the new beginnings that are coming. And then I'm going to pull one for the lunar eclipse, because these are going to be like really important and prominent energies that you're going to be sort of working with and working towards in the next 4 or 5 months at least, but 6 months for some of you. So let's see. What are these new beginnings that we're going to have in this solar eclipse? What's the new beginning? Yeah. So the new beginning you have the Two of Coins, or the Two of Pentacles. So the Two of Pentacles is about balancing what you have, about balancing so that you can nourish them both, about grounding those things and giving them equal opportunity to flourish, okay? And so these are new beginnings that you're going to have, and this is about grounding them. This is about putting the work in it. And this is about saying also that you can do more than one thing if that's what you're wanting to do. You can balance the life that you have now and the life that you're moving towards, okay? So that's what's happening in the solar eclipse. So what's happening in the lunar eclipse? So the lunar eclipse is really interesting. You have the sun. So the sun is like alignment. The sun is gifting you. The sun is clearing things up. So there's going to be some clarity with this lunar eclipse. There's going to be some release and some understanding. And I feel like it's going to be understanding about yourself. I feel like you're sitting there and you're saying, I didn't think I was this strong. Like I knew I was strong, but I didn't think I was this strong. And I didn't think I could do this. And I actually did it. And I'm so proud of myself for doing it. And I'm happier having done it. That's what I'm feeling with this card. And I feel like that's what you'll be working on in the lunar eclipse. Okay? So, what's the overall theme in January? You have the Five of Swords. Yeah, you have the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords is about things that are hidden coming to light. So you could be receiving news. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It could be somebody giving you a surprise party. It could be somebody not saying something because they don't want to spoil it for you, because you're going to be receiving these accolades or this new position or this new money, or maybe it's a party of some sort. Maybe it's a congratulations for you. Like things like that could be happening too. But the theme for January, it looks like some things are going to come to light. Some clarity is going to happen. And this is to relieve you. That's what I feel like is going on in the month of January for you. So that ends out the month of January. We have a wonderful year coming up. We've been through the ringer in the last couple of years. This is now time for all these things that we've learned. Now time to really set these things in stone. We're directed, we've cleared, we know what we want, we're ready to commit. And as we do that, these things are going to be forming in our life. So congratulations. I love you, love you, love you. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.